Hey guys, I'm not sure why it looks so weird. It looks weird on my end. It looks like the color is different. I don't know. I don't know if I hit a button or what. Hold on just a second, guys. Here, let's see. Hmm. I don't know, cause that's the. I don't know. It just kind of looks weird. Okay. Yes, Monday we made it, TJ. We got 6 people in here. I think that's a pretty good number. Let me ask y'all guys, does my image look weird on y'all's end? Does it look a little faded or something? I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm just going to adjust the camera a little bit. Um, I didn't notice it looking this faded before. I don't know if I've got, well, maybe I had an extra light on or something. I don't know. Um, but hey, Darren. Hey, Texas. You say I've got R.L. Stein. Um, I like the R.L. Stein touch. I do. Maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe my light bulb's getting ready to go out in there or something. I don't know. It's very strange looking. I don't know if I turn the. Ooh, that might be too much light. I'm just trying to get it adjusted so it looks normal because it something looks weird on my end. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like I got a smoke machine, doesn't it? Um, I don't think anything's on fire. I am not really sure what's going on. I don't guess my camera lens is dirty. I don't know. It just looked like that all of a sudden. I don't know. Yeah. So I guess you guys are singing it on your end too. So I don't know. I think if I turn the light off, I won't. It must be something going on with my light. But anyway, I'm not going to keep fiddling with it. I mean, um, TJ, actually, I do have a light ring, but I haven't ever been able to get it to look just right. And so I don't know. I think I need to learn more about it or something to that effect um, to make it look right because a certain way I do it, it looks like I've got way too much light and I'm too pale, and other times it doesn't look like I have enough light. So I think I'm just going to have to find time to work with it. But I do have one, yes. Um, the camera doesn't look as sharp. Hmm. See, I don't know. I mean, shoot, I've got the same. Oh, wait a second here, guys. I don't know how that happened. Let's try this. um, there. Is that better, guys? Does that look better? I don't look all smoky now. I checked the setting and I guess they gave me like 1080p free for 7 days. And Wes told me I really don't need that. He said 720 is good enough. So when they took away that 1080p, they dropped me back down to 480 or 4, whatever that was, 420, 480. I don't know what in the heck it was. It was 480, which was standard definition instead of high definition, and I switched it back to 720. It's much better. Okay, I'm glad I figured that out because it was bugging the hell out of me. But now that I got that out of the way and got that fixed, and things look better in here again, um, I wanted to show something that I got in, and I think several of you that are my friends on Facebook have already seen this. And I even had a little video of it. But ta-da! I got my Rocktober Blood vinyl in today, guys. And honestly, I mean, I don't think this is 180 gram vinyl, and it does have a little bend in the corner, which I was a little disappointed in. But man, I'm really liking the packaging because honestly, I thought I was only going to get this cover, which this cover is cool. This cover is cool. Um, and you can see there's the Paul Bearer Press logo and the Linares Records logo. I mean, this is the screen print one is really cool. But see, I did not know. I thought you had to pick either or, and I thought this version with this cover was sold out because I like this one as well. You like that, Darren? You like it, TJ? TJ says bloody nice. Yeah, and let me show you. There was some stuff in here that I didn't know I was going to get. I knew I was going to get the red vinyl, which is really cool. Um, but then also I noticed, and some people might not get excited about this stuff, but when I get little extras in there, thrown in there, now it's not in here. It must be in this one here. Let me get these out of here. I got two, I guess, like kind of like bumper sticker type things. And they both say the same thing. They have the mask and it says Rocktober Blood, Killer on the Loose. But I got two of those. And I also got a little Rocktober Blood mini poster. Not that I'm going to be able to meet any of these people from the movie where I could get it signed. Steve said I could get it signed by Billy I for like $100, like when those shoddy Blu-rays came out a while back. And I'm sure the Sebastians got some kind of money from this, but I really think this is a lot better package than that Blu-ray fiasco, in my opinion, anyway. Dirk, you say, hell yeah, that's kick ass. Texas, you say smoking. Yeah, I'm glad you guys like it. And like I said, they still have some copies at paulbearerpress.com. Uh, I don't think John's in here, but I do want to thank him again for letting me know that Paul Bearer Press had these reprints of. Keep in mind, it's not the original, but it is a reprint. But I think they did a decent job with it, and so if you want to get in on that and don't mind paying $35 for it, I think it's a pretty good package personally for $35. Then you can go over to paulbearerpress.com and get you some. And they've also got, t-shirts and little action figures and all kinds of different things that you might want to, consider purchasing as well. Thank you, Dirk. You say y'all hit that like button. Yeah, like and subscribe. Just like the Dead Pit Boys say. So let me get the announcements out of the way before I get to the Fall Frights Part 2. We got a whole slew of things coming up that I'm really excited about all of them. Tomorrow night, we will be doing week 1 of Matei versus Fragasso. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm going to have to at least give a cursory look at some of those movies because some of them I'm not sure that I have seen, or I might not have seen some of them in a while. So, um, I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be week one of that. Wednesday, we've got, of course, another installment of Cheese Extreme Wednesday. I don't know about Thursday and Friday, guys. You never know with me. I may, just do a whole bunch of stuff Thursday and Friday, or at least do a stream Thursday and Friday, depending on how I'm feeling. I'm running about 100 point something degree temp right now, but as usual, I'm still here. I'm still still doing these streams. People will probably call me crazy for doing that. Hey, old curly jaws. Um, but let's see. And then Saturday, and I've already put the promotion up for both of these watch alongs. And sorry for Brandon kind of pacing around back there. But Saturday, um, I'm not sure if it's going to be 7. I've got 7 up there tentatively. I asked Steve before I put the promotion up. I said, "Are you going to do your stream Saturday or not?" And he said, "I don't know yet." So I'm anticipating him doing a stream at 6 o'clock on Saturday. And so if he does, then of course I will start my watch along at around 7ish Eastern time. And we're doing maximum overdrive. You say make it 8, oh curly jaws. Well, the only thing about that, oh curly jaws, is I'm afraid if I make it at 7:30 and 8, you get off at 7. Okay, well, since this is your pick, oh curly jaws, I will wait until 7:30. How's that? Um, and that way it'll give you enough time to get in here, and I can give you the link, and heck, I can probably send you the link earlier. So guys, because this is why I'm doing this. Normally I wouldn't make it later, but being as this is old Curly Jaws' pick, Maximum Overdrive was his pick for a watch along, and I really want him to get the full benefit of being live on here as long as he wants to be or can be. And so I guess we will do it at 7:30, regardless of whether Steve does a stream or Steve doesn't do a stream. So I hope that's okay with everybody, but I'm just trying to, I would do the same if one of you guys picked something and, needed to adjust the time to be on here, especially if you were going to plan on being on there live. So I hope that's okay with everybody. That we'll just go ahead and start it at 7:30. I will adjust the time on the promotional material. TJ, you say, by the way, I watched the Monsters movie. Oof, is all I'll say. Oh, Curly Jaws, you say, yay. You're getting gummies for the stream. Awesome. Darren says, TJ Monsters was awful. Texas, you say, Blissful and I watched the first 2 episodes of Dahmer. That's some raw shit. I need to watch that. I think Steve's been watching it, but he's probably been watching it after he lays down for the night. And, I don't know why you would watch something like that to go to sleep by, but whatever. TJ says awful is one word for it. LOL. And TJ, you say, oh, Curly will probably like it. I can't remember if Oh Curly Jaws has said anything about it. Oh Curly Jaws, have you seen the Munsters yet? So the other announcement I wanted to make was for Sunday, and we will definitely be starting the Sunday watch along, barring anything coming up, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to be Darren's pick, or not Darren's pick, sorry, uh, Texas's pick. Sorry, I forgot again. Savage Streets was Darren's pick, which we did last weekend. But this is Texas's pick for Don't Go in the House. I already have the promotion up for it. Um, and so we got a lot of things coming up, a lot of things for you guys to look forward to. Um, and I'm looking forward to them as well. Darren, you say I forgot about that Dahmer series. Awesome. Oh, Curly Jaws, you say I only seen the trailer. Gonna get Netflix this week. And Dirk, I have not seen the trailer for Knock at the Cabin Door. Have you? Does it look good? TJ, you say it looks like a low budget TV movie, which I guess was what they were going for. So Stephen King is praising it. Well, that if it gets Stephen King's seal of approval, you can almost guarantee I'll give it a try. Darren, you say not heard of that, Dirk. So, with all the announcements out of the way, I don't think there was anything else I specifically wanted to bring up other than, showing off that Rocktober Blood vinyl. For those of you that didn't get in here to see that, you definitely, I'll show the cover of it real quick again. But you can watch it in me talking about it in all its glory on the replay if you want to. TJ, you say, is that the new M. Night movie, Cabin Door? Dirk, you say it looks pretty good. If that is a new M. Night Shyamalan movie, I didn't even know he was doing anything new. Ah, okay. It's a wonder I haven't heard Steve say something about it. Maybe he didn't know about it for whatever reason. So, like I was going to say, now that I got all the announcements pretty much out of the way, you guys feel free to keep chatting in there. We got about 7, it's fluctuating between 7 to 10 people in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the movies because, again, we have a stack of 10 movies here. And this may not take me very long to go through all my movies, especially if I keep doing the Fall Frights on a regular basis. But oh goodness, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm yawning again. And as I said last night when I did the part 1 of the Fall Frights, what I'm attempting to do with this is to maybe suggest movies that maybe people hadn't thought about, watching for the fall season or watching closer to Halloween. Or, some of these may have a subtle Halloween theme in them, but it may not just stand out as much as something being called Halloween or trick or treat or, something to that effect. So I hope I introduce you guys to some different movies maybe that you didn't think about for watching during the fall season and or the Halloween season. Because that's my intention because, back when I was growing up, of course, we didn't have all that, there weren't people doing live streams and talking about, there weren't regular people doing this. I mean, you had, talking head type things and stuff where the same old people were talking about the same old things all the time. But now we have more of a variety, a lot of different regular movie watchers. And a lot of people that are not getting paid or anything, they just like coming on a stream and hanging out with friends and supporters of their channel and stuff, and just basically talking about movies. And you guys know me, I'm not real structured with these things. It's kind of a loose, free flow type of environment, or at least that's what I hope it is for you guys, where we can basically, just like when I do a watch along, we don't necessarily have to stick to talking about the movie all the time. Now, there may be some people that don't like that. They would rather us stick to talking about the movie, but I don't care about all that. If you like it, you'll stay. If you don't, you'll leave. And we always have plenty of people in here for these things, it seems like, until it gets late, and then a lot of people start dropping off. But I just it's kind of expect that. Darren, you say, Dirk, I watched The Weapon, The Hour, and The Motive tonight. I liked it, although it's probably the worst in the set. Dirk, you say, Dana or anyone in the chat, is editor any good? I'm laughing because I hate that movie, Dirk. I forgot what Steve told. Steve loves it. I forgot what Steve told me it was supposed to be like. And I wanted to say it was Canadian made or something. And he bought like the Blu-ray or whatever of it. Yeah. Darren knows I hate it. But Dirk, the thing is that just because I don't like it, you guys could love it, just because I don't like the Evil Dead remake, but you do. So you may very well get something out of it. You might be like Steve. You might enjoy it. TJ, you say I'm writing all these down, LOL. Dirk, you say, yeah, I like that one, Darren, but it's probably second for me out of the set. But again, you guys keep putting stuff in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and get started with the first movie. And I will be glancing back and forth at the chat while I'm talking about these movies. So the first one I want to talk about is Fright Night. And I am getting the 4K, but it won't be here for a few more days at least, or several days rather. This is actually the Eureka version of it. And the reason why I got this particular version was because it had the You're So Cool, Brewster documentary on the making of Fright Night. And so I'll give a little bit of a plot synopsis about Fright Night. Oh, wait a second here. Let's see. Darky say, yes, Evil Dead 4K will be here tomorrow. Darren, you said, Dirk, what was your fave? TJ, you say, Darcy gave Terrifier 2 3.5 stars. Heard it was over 2 hours, though, which I think is overkill. Yeah, I would have to agree with that, TJ. But nowadays, I think most of that stuff, especially this kind of low budget hack and slash type stuff, and I'm not putting it down at all. I'm just saying, why does everybody think everything needs to be two or more hours anymore? What's wrong with a 90-minute movie, or a 85-minute movie, or even a 75-minute movie? Get even less than that, and it's probably, you feel like it's not worth your money. But yeah, I totally get that. So Dirk says his favorite was 9 Seats. And Darren says, cool, the same as mine. Dirk says, yeah, it hit all the marks in my opinion. Dirk, you say, I'm ready for Art the Clown Part 2. TJ, you say, she said if you like gore, people will love it. Now, I don't know. Some of you may be thinking, why did I pick Fright Night for a fall fright movie? Again, just because the atmosphere just seems sort of desolate, kind of cold. And there's something about vampire movies in general for me that just seem like a fall type of thing. I was trying to finish up my Lost Boys 4K today, didn't quite make it during my lunch break. But I think that one feels fallish to me. But I was gonna do the plot. I almost forgot what I was gonna do. So let me give you a little bit of a plot synopsis on this. I'm pretty sure most people have seen Fright Night, but I'll put this out there anyway. So he's sweet, sexy, and he likes to get in late. You might think he's the perfect neighbor, but before inviting him in for a nightcap, there's something you should know. Jerry prefers his drinks warm, red, and straight from the jugular. It's Fright Night, a horrific howl starring Chris Sarandon as the seductive vampire and William Ragsdale as the frantic teenager struggling to keep Jerry's deadly fangs out of his neck. Only 17-year-old Charlie Brewster Ragsdale knows Jerry's blood-curdling secret. When Charlie can't get anybody to believe him, he turns to TV horror host Peter Vincent, played by the great Roddy McDowall, who used to be the great vampire killer of the movies. Kenny's mortal save Charlie and his sweetheart Amy, played by Amanda Beers, from the wrathful bloodsucker's toothy embrace. If you love being scared, Fright Night will give you the nightmare of your life. Eureka Classics is proud to present this iconic modern horror classic in a new dual format special edition. Texas, you say, I love the editor. It's a great Jallo send up. And that's probably what Steve said. The editor, right? Sorry, Texas. TJ, you said, love Fright Night. I heard Tom Holland's working on a book or something related to Fright Night. Don't know the details. Oh, that'll be awesome. Darky say, I heard it's going to be more shocking than Split Kill, which was insane. Darren, you say, I loved Fright Night when it first came out. Didn't quite live up to that on a recent watch. Still really good, though. You know what? I think I brought this up before, Darren, but I'll share the story again. I think part of my continued love of Fright Night has to do with the fact that I have fond memories from my youth of watching it. Because my mom and dad, in their younger days, of course, they don't do this kind of stuff now, but when they were younger and me and my brother were a lot younger, they would go visit friends quite a bit more. And so we went to a couple that was mom and dad's friends, and they had rented a movie called Fright Night. And my brother was a little too young to be watching it, they thought, and their son was a little bit too young, or their younger son was a little bit too young to be watching as well. So Brian and my brother, Jason, just kind of sat back in Brian's room and played with He-Man figures while we were watching Fright Night. But I just remember that being a really good experience. I thought this movie was fun. Even at that, I mean, I wasn't too young to see it, I guess, But at the age that I was, that young, kind of impressionable age, I felt like that this movie had everything. It had the scares, it had the sexiness, which the sexiness I probably didn't appreciate back then, but now I do as an adult. Um, and it also had quite a bit of humor in it. Um, but it didn't have so much humor that it overshadowed everything else. So I thought it was a good balance. And so Charlie's friend Evil, he's the one that says, "Oh, you're so cool, Brewster," and he comes off with these one-liners and different funny things. Even when he gets turned into a vampire, he's still funny. And so I really enjoyed that. Um, I think William Ragsdale does an awesome job as Charlie Brewster. I think Amanda Beers does an awesome job as Amy, his long suffering girlfriend, because I tell you, William Ragsdale's character of Charlie Brewster spends the most of the movie ignoring Amy. He would rather be looking through his binoculars at Jerry, the next door neighbor, and seeing what's going on over there, or watching Peter Vincent on these vampire films, than paying attention to his girlfriend who wants a little sexual attention from him. And so there are several, clashes that he and Amy have throughout the film. Um, TJ, you say I'm all for the gore, Dirk. LOL. Um, Dirk, you say Fright Night is pure nostalgia. I watched that movie so many times. You say I met David Howard Thornton and Damien Leone. Cool people. TJ, you say out of curiosity, what about it changed your mind, Darren? Just because you got older, or that's a good question. Uh, Fright Night, yes, Cliff. Is that what turned you off of it, Darren? Oh goodness. Yes, I have heard that Stephen Jeffries is pretty big in gay porn, literally. Yes. But I'll tell you, in this, I wasn't even thinking, at that point in time, he probably wasn't in gay porn. And I wouldn't have been thinking about it at that age anyway. I didn't even hear the word gay porn at that point in time. There probably was some, but you know, um, but regardless of what line of work he's decided to be in after Fright Night, I still think that he did a really good job in Fright Night, and I think that he and William Ragsdale just seemed to mesh, and you could, in my opinion, believe that they were friends. TJ, you say, "Oh, nice, Dirk. I've heard from friends the guy who plays Art is a cool dude." Yeah, I've heard that too, and I keep wanting to meet him, and then for whatever reason, I don't. Um, I'm gonna sneeze again, guys. Excuse me. Oh, um, Darren, you say, TJ, yeah, I think it's just because I'm seeing it as an older person. Yeah, I get that, Darren. I probably don't love it as much as I did when I was a kid, but I still have such fondness for it. Dirk, you say, I'll tell you one I love more than Lost Boys and Fright Night. Is it Salem's Lot, Dirk? TJ, you say, I get you, Darren. Thank you, Cliff. Uh, I've been doing a lot of that. Near Dark. Ah, gotcha. I like Near Dark a lot as well. But I can't really say that I like it better than Fright Night and Lost Boys. But I do like it. I do like it quite a bit. So guys, I said that I wasn't going to go on too awfully long about each one of these movies. So I'm going to go over, I kind of gave some key points and we kind of discussed it a little bit amongst us. Wow, we got 11 people in here. I am going to talk about the special features on this particular edition, even though I know in several days the 4K is coming out and I've already got it pre-ordered and I'm eagerly anticipating that. But this is a 4K digital restoration. You have 5.1 DTS HD Master Audio. You're So Cool, Brewster, a 146-minute version of the 2016 documentary on the making of Fright Night, created exclusively for this release. You also get Blu-ray only exclusive extras, 3 new video pieces. What is Fright Night? Tom Holland, Writing Horror, and Roddy McDowall from Apes to Bats. Fear Fest 2 2008 reunion panel featuring Tom Holland, Chris Sarandon, William Ragsdale, Stephen Jeffries, Amanda Beers, Jonathan Stark, and moderated by Rob Galuzzo. Shock Till You Drop presents Choice Cuts with Tom Holland and Ryan Turek, a 3-part video interview on the film. The full electronic press kit featuring rare on-set interviews and behind-the-scenes footage, stills and memorabilia from Tom Holland's personal collection, and theatrical trailers. Let's see. TJ said, by the way, Amanda Beers was really pretty back then. She gets a lot of jokes about her looks on Married with Children. It made no sense when I was younger. LOL. I mean, she did get older eventually. LOL. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Amanda Beers ever really looked bad. Darky said, Bill Paxton and Lance Henriksen kill those rogues. They do. I mean, Bill Paxton is a really evil son of a bitch in that movie, I think. Even more evil, I think, than like Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker. So Wes, you say the Lost Boys 4K is inferior to the Blu-ray according to G. Who's G though? I mean, I'm not saying they're wrong or anything. I'm just saying I've been watching it and I've almost finished it, and I'm really liking the look of it. So I just wonder who G is, because I might like to go see what they think of it. Are you talking about Garrett when you say G? That's the only G I can think of. So it could be Garrett. Yes, Danger Land streaming it yet again. So what you gonna do, brother? I guess you'll watch if you like what I'm talking about. Okay, so I guess it was Garrett. TJ, you say, yeah, I saw Garrett did an unboxing. Too bad to hear about the new transfer. Well, and this is nothing against Garrett, guys. Just like when I talked about Friday 13's 4K, and Pizzow didn't have his settings just right on his TV, and he was talking about how dark it was. And I always tell you guys this whenever I say something like I didn't care for the transfer or I didn't like the movie. I always tell you guys, don't just go by what I'm saying. Don't just go by what 1 or 2 people are saying. You know, if you can get a copy of, like, let's say The Lost Boys 4K without having to pay a lot of money, just so you can see what the transfer looks like, that would be the best way, because just don't depend solely on us guys that talk on these streams. Even if if you consider the person very knowledgeable, which I'm sure Garrett is knowledgeable. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm saying that I didn't think that the transfer was bad at all. And I certainly didn't feel like, in my opinion, that it was inferior to the Blu-ray. But Garrett's entitled to his own opinion, as we all are, and I would urge you guys to, maybe watch several reviews on the 4K of the Lost Boys and, you know, kind of make an informed decision from there. And if you can watch it for free somehow in 4K, then by all means do that before you plunk down your hard earned money. Dirk, you say, I bought it, haven't checked it yet, Wes. So, Wes, when you say Garrett compared both back to back, so he didn't like have one playing on one TV and side by side with the other, right? So he just watched the 4K and the Blu-ray back to back, or vice versa. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying the only way I could truly compare them, um, like scene by scene, would be to have them side by side going at the same time. And even then, I don't know how well I would do with that. Oh, well, I didn't say the Blu-ray didn't look great. I'm just saying that I once again, I think the 4K improved upon it, but I have my own different opinions, as Garrett does, as everybody does. Darky say, yeah, little G, LOL. Cliff, you said the most I ever paid for a movie was $75 for Fright Night, the out of print Twilight Time. See, I didn't end up getting that. I know some people did. Blu-ray before Sony put out the Blu-ray, and now we're getting a 4K UHD. LOL. Turkey say, yeah, definitely don't listen to Piz. He's got that Dane Bramage. um, Oh, well, Wes, like I said, I'm not saying anything against Garrett. I like Garrett a lot. And if I'm not telling people to throw out their Blu-rays and get the 4K. I'm just saying that, in my opinion, um, and me, Wes, I don't like every single thing. And if the transfer is not up to snuff, I would tell you. But you say Lost Boys is like his favorite movie and he's crazy positive usually. LOL, I'm sticking with my Blu-ray. So, yeah, if you want to stick with your Blu-ray, that is cool. But honestly, Wes, I think the package, if I'm remembering right, I thought the package came with the Blu-ray. So technically, you could have both things, but I don't know if you want to spend out that money or not. What she say? He took screenshots. I think he's making a vid. That's cool. I may check that out. What she say? I think a lot of these companies starting to use 4K as a gimmick. Well, if they are using 4K as a gimmick, I feel like it's going to catch up with them in the end. But I'll just say this. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm not saying I'm always right. I'm not saying anybody else is always right. We're neither all wrong or all right 100% of the time. So I just think a lot of these things are a matter of personal opinion. Even my stuff, it's a matter of personal opinion. It's how I'm seeing it at the time. So, um, I'm just saying, supposing that Garrett told you what he thought of this upon first watching. Okay. So I'm just asking you, Wes, you're pretty much going to keep your Blu-ray, screw the 4K. You're not even going to bother with it. But what if, I don't know, 3 or 4 months down the road, Garrett changes his mind? And he says, well, hey, on second thought, it does look pretty damn good. Are you going to run out and get the 4K then, or are you still good? I'm not trying to make you mad. I'm just asking, because anybody can change their mind. Like Joe Bob says, anybody can die at any moment. Well, any of us, we're human beings. We could change our mind at any point in time. Heck, I've changed my mind on stuff. I've said stuff looks awful. Like when the Terror Train Blu-ray came out, remember how awful I talked about that release? That I said it was grainy and fuzzy and yada yada yada. And then about a year later, I, watched it again and I was like, you know what? It's not so bad. It's not as bad as I originally thought. And so I'm just saying, what if something like that happens? You may not care either way. Cliff, you said there will be new features on the Fright Night 4K, so that's great. Dirk, you say, I know I've seen some Synapse Blues that do look better than some 4Ks. And that might be whatever Synapse does to them. And I'm not saying Synapse does the greatest job 100% of the time. I'm just saying I think sometimes it's all a matter of what print they get, how much, color correction and all these other things that they do to it, and the effort that's put into it. I think sometimes they're not interested in putting in the maximum amount of effort, and it shows. Wes, you said I probably wasn't getting it either way. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, but guys, we go through this same thing with every incarnation. And Wes, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with what you said. I'm just saying that I went through this with Steve, like when stuff started coming out on Blu-ray, more and more stuff came out on Blu-ray. He would tell me, you don't need that on Blu-ray. You could keep that on DVD. So now we're moving into there's more Blu-ray buying. And now 4Ks come along. So now people are saying the same thing. Some movies are fine on Blu-ray. And don't you know that probably people were saying some movies are fine on VHS when DVD came out. So I think you have to learn just to be discriminate for yourself. It's fun, and it's fun for me to do these live streams. It's fun to go watch other people's live streams where they talk about the films and they talk about the good points and the bad points and the in between points and all that. But when it finally comes down to the ultimate decision, you have to make that decision for yourself. Nobody else can make that for you. And it sounds like Wes has made his own decision about this particular 4K, that he's not going to get it. Um, and that's fine. But I just I like to pretty much make my own decision about what movies I want to buy or not buy on 4K, or buy or not buy on Blu-ray, etc., etc., etc. Then, you know, I kind of like to keep the slate pretty clean and unblemished and all that. Um, but that's just the way I do it. I will buy the stuff I like when it comes out on 4K. And to be honest, this might not be the best way to do it. I worry about the quality later on. And you think, well, Dana, you're probably wasting a lot of money. But here's the thing, I did not let somebody else's impression of the 4K cloud my mind up. I don't want to say cloud my judgment because that's not what it is. But if I always have what somebody else thinks about a particular transfer in the back of my mind all the time, how can I possibly make a good judgment call? That's just what I like to watch the reviews other people do on things that I may have bought already, and I'm just curious about what they say, and it's fun for me to go back and watch those. But I don't. My buying habits are not based on other people's reviews of stuff. Generally, they're not. Um, Cliff, you say if there wasn't new features on Fright Night 4K, I probably wouldn't get it, and I get that too, Cliff. Because I tell Steve sometimes I'm not going to get something because there's really nothing that exceptional, in my opinion, with some of the transfers. It might be the same exact transfer that came out last year or 2 years ago, and then they don't even put any extra, some new extras on there. So it's like, no. What you say, a Blu-ray remastered in 4K versus a 4K is a little to no difference, LOL. Again, that's your opinion, Wes, and I'm sure a lot of other people share that opinion. But again, I like to make that decision for myself rather than somebody tell me what they think about it. I'll watch what they and listen to what they think about it after I have bought the items that I want to based on what I want out of the movie, you know. Um uh What she say? I like Fright Night. I'll be keeping my Blu-ray on it too. I may get Poltergeist since I just have it on DVD. Um, what she said? Warner Brothers 4K usually aren't that impressive to me. Really? Like you didn't think The Shining 4K was impressive? I certainly did. But again, that's my opinion. Uh, Darren, you say usually the difference between 4K and Blu-ray isn't enough to get me to upgrade alone. I'm all about new extras. And Darren, it depends on the movie with me. Um, so Steve sometimes tells me it's all about the transfer, and I'm saying, yeah, but some of these things they may not have the top of the line transfer, but the extras are enough to get me to push me over that line into buying it. Hmm. What did you say exactly, Darren? The upgrade isn't worth it as much as it was from DVD to Blu-ray. Yeah, but why isn't it? Why isn't it worth more to you? Like I think I get the feeling Wes at least probably thinks I'm being argumentative, and I'm not. I'm just trying to like get some good healthy debate and conversation going. Dirk, you say, I didn't own Lost Boys and almost skipped it, so I figured why not, even though I wish Near Dark was out in its place. Got you, Dirk. Because you like Near Dark better. TJ, you say, unless I don't have a certain movie, I'll wait for the 4K, but like I have a dozen versions of The Evil Dead, and I don't think a 4K upgrade of that is necessary. Well, with me being the Evil Dead chick, you can pretty much guarantee I'm going to get almost every release of that damn movie. Whereas people do value your opinion. I wasn't saying they didn't value your opinion. I'm just saying everybody has all kinds of different opinions. Darky say, on the other hand, some 4Ks are mind blowing compared to the blue. Yeah, I agree that there. TJ say, I hear you, CK. Clevy said, well, both blues look really good. Darky say, it is true though that not everything has to have a 4K. Well, I would agree with that, Dirk, that not and here's the other thing. Not everything has to come out on 4K so damn quickly. Wait until you've got a halfway decent print of it. Just don't try to turn any old print into 4K, or I think that you will be totally missing the mark with that. And TJ, you say, on another note about 4K prices, why is the Evil Dead 4K $15 but Roadhouse is $45? I'll tell you one reason, TJ, and some people might disagree with me, because guess who's putting out Roadhouse? Vinegar Syndrome's putting out Roadhouse. And Steve has already got that damn thing pre-ordered because that's one of his favorite movies ever. I think if anybody else other than Vinegar Syndrome was putting it out, it wouldn't be that expensive. So did you get um so it I thought you really liked the Goonies 4K, Wes. You're saying Goonies and Gremlins both look like a Blu-ray. Well, technically, guys, they are a Blu-ray. Have y'all noticed that? Because it says it's a 4K Blu-ray or something like that. Now, somebody's going to tell me I'm wrong, but I know I have seen it listed that way, or seen 4Ks listed that way. Um, Darky said the Shining 4K is crazy good, and I agree with that. But Wes was saying a few chat messages up that the Warner Brothers 4Ks generally weren't that great. Yeah, that could be why that one maybe looks a little better. He said Kubrick's personal assistant worked on The Shining himself. Um, TJ, you said, well, I got the Evil Dead 4K for Christmas, so it's all good. LOL. I agree, Wes. Second Sight Films does great work, and so does Blue Underground. Yes, they both of those places definitely do an excellent job. Darren, you say, I think the Evil Dead 4K may even spoil the movie. The Blu-ray shows some of the effects too much. And yeah, that Darren, that is a little bit of a danger point with, the better you make some of these older movies, the more you're going to be able to actually um, see the effects. Wes, you said Child's Play 2 looked like a Blu-ray waste of money. Well, like I said, I didn't get the Child's Play 2 4K, but I did get Child's Play 4K, and I thought what I've seen of it looked really good. Which she said, I got Roadhouse on Blu-ray for $4.95, boss. And let me guess, you're going to hold on to that. TJ, you said, good point. Vinegar is sour for a reason. Haha. Cliff, you say, I got Lost Boys 4K, no new features, but I grew up with Lost Boys and I heard great transfer, so I couldn't resist that. TJ, you say, hey, CK, you got Dead Pit money, so you can afford it, LOL. Cliff, you say that it really beats the old blue, so. Okay, so now I'm going to read it. Boy, we got a really good, healthy discussion going on about these 4Ks and versus the Blu-rays and stuff. TJ, you say, Darren, as soon as they upgraded from VHS to DVD, you could see all the hoses and the fake stuff, LOL. Darky said, I've seen Roadhouse more times than I needed to. It's really unwatchable now that I think of it. Oh, Dirk, don't tell Steve that. He absolutely loves that movie. He loves it. And I think there's a little bit of nostalgia. Well, maybe quite a bit of nostalgia for that movie for Steve, because I think that was the movie that Steve told me when he was in the army that um he went twice to see it. And he even back then he hardly ever saw things twice that close. Um, TJ said, "Next movie, Dana." LOL, I'm helping. Yes, I am getting ready to move to the next movie, TJ. I just want to make sure I kind of got caught up on these chat messages. Well, she said, Roadhouse is going to be a hard sell for them at that price. It's very different than Rad or something else that hasn't been released before. Well, I don't know how many Steves there are out there that will want to. That will want to buy it though. Okay, so guys, moving on to the next movie. This may be a movie you have heard about or not heard about, or maybe heard about it in passing. Um, you may have even heard me talk about it before. And that is Happy Hell Night with Darren McGavin. Says 25 years ago, he sold his soul to the devil. Now it's time to pay. Um, Unfortunately, this is a Code Red release, but when it came out on Blu-ray, I thought, "What the hey? I'll go ahead and get it," because previous to this, I think the only way I had saw it is like on a VHS, maybe. Um, Darren, you say I love Roadhouse, but not at that price point. So, for those of you that might not be familiar with this movie, I'm going to read a little bit about it. And it does have a Halloween theme, but it might not be at first apparent on this. So, on October 31st, 1963, 7 members of the Phi Delta Kappa fraternity were found brutally mutilated following an occult ritual inside Winfield Mausoleum. The sole suspect, depraved priest Zachary Malice, was immediately locked away in the bowels of the state asylum. 25 years later, a fraternity hazing prank goes terribly wrong, and the psychotic ghoul escapes. Now, a relentless evil has been unleashed, and the co-eds of Winfield College will once again face the bloody horror and learn the shocking truth of Happy Hell Night. Darren McGavin, the Night Stalker, Hanger 18, 0 to 60, Georgia Fox, CSI, Ted Clark from Wrong Turn, and Sam Rockwell, The Green Mile, and the new Poltergeist, star in this rarely seen slasher sickie packed with gratuitous nudity and gore galore. Happy Hell Night has been remastered in HD from original vault elements. And I'll tell you, I caught Happy Hell Night just, I was doing a little channel surfing back when I still was living at home with my parents. And we had gotten satellite, one of the small satellites. We never had one of those great big giant satellites. And so I was, kind of going through the premium movie channels and found this movie called Happy Hell Night. And I was like, I've never seen this before. I hadn't even seen it at the video store. And I feel like I'm going to sneeze again. It's a yawn. I don't know what's making me sneeze back here, but anyway, I discovered this movie that way, and thankfully it was at the beginning of the movie. Usually when you're channel surfing, you catch it in the middle or towards the end, and then you have to wait till it's on again so you can watch the whole thing. But this one I was lucky enough to catch nearly at the beginning, or maybe actually at the beginning. And although this movie is really low budget and it's a little cheesy in spots and all of that, and Darren McGavin, I'll be honest, is not in it that much. So don't buy this solely because Darren McGavin's in it, for you Darren McGavin fans. But I think it's a fun little movie. It's gory. It has some humor in it. It has those raunchy sex comedy like elements and those fraternity free for all things. It's a little bit more gratuitous than, like, say, something like Haunted Wing. Um, so um, you have a lot more nudity than, like, say, something like Haunted Wing. Um, you definitely have more gore than Haunted Wing. Haunted Wing was acceptable in that department, but this one takes it a few steps further. And I think the guy that plays Zachary Malice, hopefully you can see him there. His eyes are completely black in the scenes he's in. And I think that is one creepy ass looking dude. Um, and he just keeps showing up at different places and makes these little comments like, uh, "No TV," after he slashes a girl watching TV in the asylum across the throat and kills her. Um, so he says that a lot. He says, "No TV, no kidding, no more." Just, different things with no at the beginning. Um, Durkee say, "Yeah, I held off on Amityville too. That is too damn high. Vinegar Syndrome trying to be like Scheme Factory, laughing my ass off." Cliffy said, "The Poltergeist 4K only has a 7-minute behind the scenes." Well, I found a lot about it on YouTube. Um, Darren, you say, "Cliff, for some reason, nobody does any extras on Poltergeist releases that are about the film. It's got a death curse." TJ, you say, "They don't seem to be doing really in-depth extras for Poltergeist because of the stupid Spielberg Hooper who directed junk. Either that or it's just to keep people talking about the movie." Cliffy said, "The hour and a half true Hollywood story about all three is on YouTube. It's good." I'm going to have to check that out, Cliff. Darky say, "We need the Hooper cut that Spielberg destroyed." Um, yeah, you said the same thing I did, Darren. Cliff, have to check that out. Thanks. And Cliff says, "Welcome." So let me ask you guys, um, has anybody seen Happy Hell Night except for me? Steve did a commentary with me on it, but it's another one of those he says he never wants to watch again. So I was just wondering if any of you guys in here had seen it or not. I'm trying to make sure this thing stays plugged in good, or you guys won't be able to hear me. Uh, so while I'm waiting for people to answer, I will say that this is really not special features heavy in any way, shape, or form. Surprise, surprise, it's a code red release. So this has a brand new 2K scan of the original negatives and an original trailer, and that's all she wrote on that. Um, Clive, you said, "Nope, I heard of it." Darren, you say, "I have Happy Hell Night Blu-ray, but never opened it." Maybe you can watch it, getting close to Halloween this year, Darren. Darky, you said you haven't seen it. TJ, you say, "I've seen it, not for a while. I see it's on YouTube with foreign subtitles." Yeah, I think I've seen it on YouTube also. Okay, so we're going to move right along to this is a older movie from the early 60s, 1963 to be exact. And y'all want to guess what movie this is? It's a haunted house movie, and it's one that my mom talked about for years. And gosh, this movie's well made, in my opinion. The Haunting with Julie Harris. Um, and Claire Bloom, Richard Johnson, Russ Tamlin. It's directed by Robert Wise. It's based on The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I need to read that novel, actually. I've never read the novel, The Haunting of Hill House. I think it's one of Stephen King's favorite books. Um, so I remember my mom talking about when she remembers when she was a little girl watching this movie and how it scared her to death. And it really does have creepy moments, and it really, really works on so many levels. Not all older films do this, but there are a few that really, really do it for me as far as, the creep factor, and the atmosphere is so suspenseful, and it really keeps you going. And it really, in my opinion, doesn't feel like a movie made in 1963. I mean, it doesn't feel like a modern day movie, but it doesn't feel as old as it probably should feel. But my mom told me about this movie for years, and she said that it scared her so bad. There's one scene in the movie where um, a girl is lying in bed in this haunted house, and she puts her hand out, you know, beside the bed, and something kind of comes out from under there and brushes against her hand. And my mom said from then on she didn't want her hands or her feet or anything hanging over the side of the bed after seeing that movie, because that scared her so bad. That's what you call subtle scares, guys. We've gotten so used to over the years of having these jump scares and these big elaborate effects that I think sometimes we've forgotten how to enjoy the more subtle aspects of a movie like The Haunting. Um, so this is another one that the atmosphere just automatically makes me think of fall. So let me give you a little plot synopsis on The Haunting in case there's people out there that have not heard of it or just have heard of the remake, which is definitely inferior to this original. So it was an evil house from the beginning, a house that was born bad. The place is the 90-year-old mansion called Hill House. And you can kind of see where Stephen King might have got the inspiration for the house in Salem's Lot. Just as I was reading that first line of the plot of this. Um, no one lives there, or so it seems, but please do come in, because even if you don't believe in ghosts, there's no denying the terror of the haunting. This is making me excited right now. I'm going to have to go back and watch this again soon. Robert Wise returned to psychological horror for this much admired first screen adaptation of Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House. 4 people come to the house to study its supernatural phenomena. Or has the house drawn at least one of them to it? Again, similar to the way the Marston house seems to draw Ben Mears back to Salem's Lot. The answer will unnerve you in this elegantly sinister scare movie. It's good fun. Pauline Kael said that in 5001 Nights at the Movies. Cliff, you say, yeah, Haunting, I like it. Darren said, The Haunting is a classic. I always watch this as a double feature with The Legend of Hell House with Roddy McDowall from the 70s. I love that one too. That one's as scary as hell too, Darren. I'm glad you brought that one up. TJ, you say classic. Got some creepy scenes. The scene where they find the guy's wife is spooky. Yeah. TJ, you said the remake wasn't horrible. I know many people don't like that version, although The Haunting of Hill House is a better remake, so to speak. I mean, yeah, it's not a horrible film, but I just can't help every time I see that remake comparing it to the original, and it just when put side by side with the original The Haunting, so to speak, it just doesn't seem to hold up as well. I mean, the new one doesn't. And Darren, you said The Changeling is another where the house becomes a big character of the movie. And The Changeling was one I talked about last night. Cliff, you say Hell House, yes. Darren, you said The Haunting is gooder than shit. I would agree, Dirk. I would agree. And I am pleased that so many of you guys in here, um, of varying ages, I know, are showing some appreciation for this movie. I didn't know that it was going to get that kind of love. So I'm really pleased at that. And like I said, just while I was reading the plot synopsis, it hit me again how incredible this movie is and how so very effective this movie is. And I think people need to kind of go back and watch these classics. And I think you will be able to get a greater appreciation for horror films if you watch stuff like this from time to time. Red, you say, what was your best in theater experience? Mine was watching the Blair Witch Project in '99 in my state of Maryland. Wow, Red, you know, my theater experiences pretty much seem to be so uneven. Um, but I would have to say that probably the best one, and this is not a horror film, that comes to the forefront of my mind was seeing Forrest Gump in the theater. Me and my cousin Heather, she invited me to go with her to see it. And I was just blown away by that film and how well that film was made, how perfectly cast that film was. That was just an all around incredible, for me anyway, theater going experience. Cliff, you say Changeling, I'm happy with the Severin blue. I'm happy with that blue, but I can't help myself. I'm probably going to end up getting that 4K. Dirk, you say Black Sabbath is a great one for the fall. Does that one have Barbara Steele in it too, Dirk? I hate to be a Debbie Downer, I really do, but that woman, I just cannot watch her in any film. TJ, you say another good pre-Halloween fall movie, The Mutilator, aka Fall Break. Well, you are in luck, TJ, because I'm going to be talking about that one tonight. Damn, Darren, you say we need to do Black Sabbath on the podcast, Dirt. And if that has Barbara Steele in it, you guys are going to make me watch that. TJ, you say Dana hates Bab still. LOL. No, I don't hate her. I just don't think she's that attractive. I don't think she's that good of an actress. And I've heard behind the scenes stuff that says she was pretty much a prima donna that made outrageous claims, like Mario Bava was filming her with some kind of camera that could see under her clothes. Yeah. Okay, so Black Sunday had her in it, but Black Sabbath didn't. So maybe I can tolerate Black Sabbath. Okay. Um, Dirk, you say, hell yeah, Darren. So if Black Sabbath does not have crazy ass Barbara Steele in it, then I probably could watch it. I think Steve gets a little irritated with me when I go on about Barbara Steele just because of how enamored he is with her. Yes, she does. What are you talking? I guess I must have missed something. Yes, she does about Are you talking about me or Barbara Steele or both? TJ, you say, okay, you don't hate, but would never help her change the tire. Got it? We'll have to agree to disagree on that one, Cliff, because you say Steele's attractive and a good actress. Don't you think she's odd looking? Her nose turns up. I can't even do it. I look at her and her nose is like, and I'm not any great beauty. I'm nothing to look at, but I'm just saying, I don't understand when some guys go on about Barbara Steele being so gorgeous, and I just don't see it. Darren said Black Sabbath is the Mario Bava anthology, so it doesn't have Barbara Steele in it. I just want to clarify. And TJ, you say Sabbath is a really good anthology. Okay, so you guys keep continuing that conversation. I am going to move on to the next film in my stack, and I'm probably going to have to go here shortly and refresh my drink. But this is the movie, and you guys that have heard me say this before will probably know exactly which one I'm talking about. This is the movie that Aaron, aka Uncle Bill, says is like watching old people eat, which means to him it's boring as shit. But that is, He Knows You're Alone. Every girl is frightened the night before her wedding, but this time there's good reason. Again, this film seems to take place in colder weather or cooler weather because you see them wearing the girls wearing a lot of sweaters and coats and whatnot. And it might be closer to winter, but this is another very cold, very bleak, very desolate looking film. Um, and it just automatically makes me think of fall. Um, oh, thank God, Darren. You said no Barbara Steele. You're good. LOL. Great. Then I will watch it. I would have watched it if Black Sunday again, I guess, if one of you guys wanted to do it for the podcast, but oh, it would have been painful. But anyway, let me do a little bit of a plot synopsis for He Knows You're Alone. Now you see him, now you don't. The face of a killer appears out of the darkness and just as quickly disappears. A young woman has an eerie feeling someone is stalking her. Another beauty steps into a shower and a bathroom door handle slowly turns. We're in slasher flick territory and also in the rare realm of film history because screen icon Tom Hanks makes his movie debut in The Shocker. And there Tom Hanks is, right there in the middle, guys. The up and coming legend plays the brief supporting role of Elliot, a psych major whose musings about the nature of fear reinforce the tone of this twisted tale about a sicko who targets brides to be and a detective who scrambles to stop the carnage. Wedded bliss can be very short lived when he knows you're alone. Yes, TJ. That's another thing I love about this movie is that damn song. It's the night again. Um, I will forever love that song. Steve thinks I'm crazy, but it's the night again. We're all right again. All the soft, sweet dreams are coming true. I know you guys probably think I'm corny about liking that song, but I just hear certain songs in movies sometimes, and they're not at the forefront of the movie or anything, but I just find something to like about them. Darren, you say He Knows You're Alone is a top 10 slasher for me. I do get why people don't like it, but I love the fact that it's a Halloween ripoff and that chase scene is great at the end. And here's another thing, and you guys probably don't like it, but Don Scardino. I love that guy. I love that guy. I love that guy. He's that sweet, nerdy, lovable type of character that I just fall in love with every time I watch a film like this. Um, and y'all can call me crazy if you want, but I love me some Don Scardino. I do. Fred, you say, I don't like a woman with a hook nose. Dirk, you say, Dana, have you ever seen the vampire show from the 50s? I have not, Dirk. I may have seen clips, but I've never watched an actual show. You say Sabbath has Boris Karloff as the host, Dana. He's great. Well, okay. I'm looking forward to this one, guys. And like I said, I'm only half kidding about that. I would watch Black Sunday if one of you guys picked it. And who knows, Steve might pick it, because he loves Barbara Steele so much. Plus, he thinks it's a good movie. So again, this movie feels like fall. It feels like Halloween. It mostly feels like fall to me. I think it's a good little slasher. Darren is right. It is a Halloween ripoff, and if you watch it, you will know exactly what we're talking about. This has Caitlin O'Haney in it, and the main character, uh, and Don Scardino. The music, including "It's the Night Again," is by Alexander and Mark Peskanov. So if anybody ever finds a record, Alexander and Mark Peskanov record with "It's the Night Again," let me know how much you want for it if you're able to obtain it. Let me know how much you want for it, and I will buy it off of you. So this was directed by Armand Mastrioni, and the executive producers were Edgar Lansbury and Joe Baru. It was written by Scott Parker and produced by George Manassi. This came out in 1980. This is a Scream Factory or Scheme Factory release. And guys, it does have a damn eco case. And that's what I was disappointed in. One, the eco case. And look at that freaking cover art they put on there. Is that not lazy, guys? I mean, that picture is taken from the poster, which the poster is great. But look how blown up and grainy it is. It's like, how lazy can you be? So I didn't like the cover art, and I didn't like the fact that they had it put into an eco case. So the special features for this, you get a new 2K scan from the Inner Positive. You get new interviews with director Armand Mastriani, producer Robert D'Amelia, writer Scott Parker, and actor Don Scardino, which of course I love. You get audio commentary with Armand Mastriani and Scott Parker, and you get a theatrical trailer. And that is He Knows You're Alone. I highly recommend this one, guys. And Cliff, you say, I bet you've seen Squirm with Scardino. I have, but I don't like I like his character. His character is likable in Squirm, but I think the favorite Scardino role for me is as Marvin in He Knows You're Alone. No, Scardino isn't bad at all in Squirm. Want for what, Dana? You say, Cliff? I was talking about if you guys are people that like to go in record shops and hunt for different records. If you ever run across an album by Alexander and Mark Peskanov that has the song from this movie called "It's the Night Again," and you're able to obtain it, buy it. I will buy it off of you if you will let me know how much you want for it. Darren, you say Scardino is good in everything. This and Cruising is his best roles, in my opinion. He was very good in Cruising. I agree. Oh yeah, I forgot, TJ, that Vinnie Canale was the singer, right? You said they never released a single of that song, unfortunately. I've been looking for years. Really? You and me both. LOL. The singer was Vinnie Canale, who I don't think ever put out any music, probably a studio session singer. But it's just such a great song. Darren, you say, I was just happy to get the Blu ray. Cliff, you say, oh, okay. But see, that might, based on what TJ is saying, we may never find that. you know. So, um, I am going to step away for just a second, guys. Um, oh, I knew they would freaking do that. I had to bring this up before I step away, Dirk. You said Walmart canceled those Halloween set orders. You know what I think? This has happened way too many times with many different entities. And I think they just do this every year to fuck with people. I mean, because how could somebody be that not paying attention that much that this happens multiple times at different places? Yeah, that does suck. And this is the last one I'm going to read before I go and refresh my drink and stuff. Red, you say, remember that 80s werewolf TV show? I do. You say, I tried to watch it recently. It's really boring not seeing it as a kid. Okay, so guys, I will be right back. And we've got 6 more movies to cover. And I will try to go through them quickly. What are you doing, Brandon? Reg. No, Reg. Oh, so I've got me some popcorn too because I'm getting kind of hungry. And I didn't want to wait so late to have my nightly snack. Which, have I told y'all before how much Steve hates the word snack? He just gets fixated on certain words and stuff. Or maybe he just doesn't like the way I say them. But are you guys like that? Are there certain words that irritate you if somebody says them too much or says them in a certain way or whatever? Uh, so you probably know what I'm going to be doing after my big old face in there. After I get done with the stream and I take my shower and all that stuff. It is chili season, Dirk. I'm going to put that up there. And I'm probably going to be making some chili before long. I'm waiting to make sure that it doesn't get like super hot again because, I mean, I can eat chili anytime, but Cliff, you say sucks. I can't get H6 on its own. Dirk, you say, I love that show with Chuck Connors, LOL. TJ, you say, I've seen it, Red. Yeah, a lot of melodrama, not enough wolf action. Darren, you say, I've known Amazon to mess up on prices, but they always fulfill their orders, though. Yeah, it's some of the other places that we have problem with, isn't it, Darren? Dirk, you say, yeah, I only wanted 6 myself, so I made a deal with a friend. He wants H2O, I want H6, and he'll sell the res piece of shit to a Gen Z fan. LOL. Cliff, you say, I don't give a dang about H2O or Resurrection. I don't give a dang about Resurrection. Now, H2O is another story. Dirk, you say same, Cliff. TJ, you say Resurrection can go get lost. Too bad the negative didn't burn in the fire. LOL. Dirk, you say I could talk an hour about everything wrong with Halloween H2O. We'll have to let you do that sometime, Dirk. You can come live on my stream and do that. TJ, you say, Dirk, you should work for Cinema Sins on YouTube. LOL. Dirk, you say, I've seen that, TJ. He's good with that and funny as hell. TJ, you say, I only hate when people don't use your Y-O-U-R and Y-O-U apostrophe R-E properly. LOL. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, Cliff, I hear a lot of people say that if H2O hadn't ignored 4, 5, and 6. I think that's really what pissed people off more than anything. I know it did my cousin Jed. You guys have heard me talk about my cousin Jed before. Red, you say gin and tonic on the rocks. So I'm going to go grab my popcorn, and then I'm going to start talking about this next movie. And I'm going to try not to get a lot of butter on this, on any of my cases for my movies, because this is Kroger's movie theater microwave popcorn. TJ, you said, did you like all that thorn stuff, Cliff or Clifton? I know I could have done without the extra thorn stuff added in. I know you didn't ask me, TJ, but I was just commenting. Okay, so the next movie I wanted to talk about briefly is not the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but here is an example, in my opinion, of a pretty damn near perfect remake. This one is creepy when it needs to be creepy. It has a few funny moments early on. There is a, how would I say it? Conspiratorial feel. I have a hard time saying that word. Um, to the movie, where it gets to a point where you just can't trust anybody. There's a lot of extreme paranoia in this movie. And the scary thing about it is it turns out that that paranoia is completely justified when you figure out what's really going on. And this movie, boy, does this movie have a fantastic cast. You got Donald Sutherland, you got Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, and Veronica Cartwright. And that's just the the start of it. I could go on and on about the different people that are in here. And gosh, I'm trying to just completely forgetting some of said people, but I'm just going to read a little bit of a plot synopsis on this. Oh, Art Hindle, that was one of them I forgot. Art Hindle doesn't really have a huge part in this, but he does a great job with what he's given. So, from acclaimed filmmaker Philip Kaufman, The Wanderers, comes this chilling 70s adaptation of Jack Finney's classic novel, The Body Snatchers. Filmy spores fall from space over San Francisco, and the city blossoms with beautiful new flora. People take the flowers home, and as they sleep, the plants creep over them, devouring their bodies and stealing their identities, their emotions, their uniqueness, their souls. If you notice an eerie change in someone very close to you, chances are you're next. More than just a highly effective sci fi thriller, Invasion of the Body Snatchers treats contemporary problems of urban paranoia and loss of individuality with intelligence and sensitivity, and ends with the single most horrifying frame in movies. And they are right. Featuring a brilliant screenplay by W.D. Richter, Big Trouble in Little China, gritty camera work by Michael Chapman, Raging Bull, and all-inspiring special effects, Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a pulse-pounding shocker with wonderful performances by Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Leonard Nimoy, Jeff Goldblum, and Veronica Cartwright. And, I was just thinking about this while I was reading the plot synopsis. In a lot of ways, this movie is even more relevant with the things that are going on now and have been going on for the last few years. As far as, Steve watches a lot of stuff about Trump and about Q and about all this stuff and how all these people were into conspiracy theories and how Steve was listening to something the other day. He was listening to some kind of podcast, I think, where this girl's father or woman's father had basically just lost his mind over this whole Q thing, which, if anybody has heard about Q, it ties in with Trump and everything else. And this guy was a loving father. I mean, his daughters grew up in a good, loving home, and they were never scared of their father. But then he got all wrapped up in this Q business, and he shot his wife and killed her. He shot one of his daughters, and she was in the hospital, and he shot and killed the family dog. He just went crazy one day over all this shit. So that's why I say a movie like Invasion of the Body Snatchers is even more relevant, I think, in today's time than it was back in the 70s. TJ, you say it's your stream, you can answer anything. LOL. I know, but when people specifically ask questions of somebody else in the chat, I don't kind of like to feel like I'm jumping in and overriding them. Cliff, you say I did actually. I like the explanation of Michael. Why he's like that. And TJ, you said, cool, man. You also say body snatchers definitely makes you question people and their actions. Yes, it does. It does. That really works great in the movie. My number one problem with it was how Veronica Cartwright is so smart until the end, and then she's gone stupid and blows her cover. Yeah, I get what you're saying there, TJ. It's like she does a complete 360 or 180 or whatever you want to call it. Darren, you say you've not seen this. I have a nice Blu-ray rip on my computer. I've been meaning to watch. I'm a massive UFO guy too. You say I listen to all the UFO podcasts right before bed every night. Some of that Roswell stuff is fascinating. Yeah, it is. But it sounds like to me you might be a little discriminate about what you watch. Steve goes to bed just about every night listening to stuff, those talking head shows like Ancient Aliens and stuff. I guess my biggest problem with stuff like that is they want to tie everything, anything and everything in with aliens. And I think they should just concentrate on certain things like Roswell, which I agree with you. The Roswell stuff, so a lot of that is fascinating. Darren, you say I'm also an X-Files kick. I love X-Files too. TJ, you say, have you seen Quatermass and the Pit, Darren? That's a good 70s UK sci-fi movie. Good for fall, by the way. I think Steve has that. We need to get that out and watch it again. Cliff, you say, it's a lot easier to live chat when there's not many people like here. So, I mean, Cliff, does it make you feel uncomfortable? Would you like maybe 5 people as opposed to like 9 or 10? Or and Darren, you say, TJ, yes, on TV a long time ago, liked it. Dirk, you say, I really like H6 for that hospital strobe scene. Not a big fan of the Thorn explanation. Also, I love it because it's Pleasance's last Halloween. TJ, you say, cool, Darren. There's a 1959 BBC 6-episode version also, but not seen that version. And Darren, you say, cool, TJ, thanks. We'll check it out. So this is great here, Cliff. I like our little, most of you guys come in on a regular basis to my streams. And those of you that I didn't know prior to doing a lot of these streams, I've gotten really friendly with, learned a lot of stuff. discovered some new and different things to watch. So yeah, I really like it. So I don't think I talked about why I consider Invasion of the Body Snatchers to be a fall like film. Again, it has that really desolate atmosphere. It's cold, it's bleak, and it gets even more so as the movie goes along. And I would have to agree, although I don't want to give this away for people like Darren that haven't seen it. Um, but the final scene is a scene that will stick with you. That's all I'm going to say, other than it's a creepy ass scene and very effective. And like I said, it will stick with you. So I don't want to give any more than that away. So this is the Kino Lorber release of the 4K. It looks fantastic in my opinion. And it does have quite a few special features on it. So you get audio commentary with director Philip Kaufman, audio commentary with author and film historian Steve Haberman, star-crossing the invasion interview with actress Brooke Adams, recreating the invasion interview with screenwriter W.D. Richter, scoring the invasion interview with composer Denny Zeitlin, leading the invasion interview with actor Art Hindle, writing the pod interview with Jack Finney expert Jack Seabrook, Revisitors from Outer Space or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Pod featurette, Practical Magic, the Special Effects Pod featurette, The Man Behind the Screen, the Sound Effects Pod featurette, The Invasion Will Be Televised, the Cinematography Pod featurette, TV spots, radio spots, and a theatrical trailer. Dirk, you say, yeah, it's great here. We may disagree, but at the same time, we discuss respectfully. Exactly, Dirk. I feel like, I certainly don't get butthurt over these little things. I like to rib Wes a little bit, and I do notice that he laughed, so I hope I didn't end up pissing him off in this case. Because I really, the stuff I was saying and questioning him about, I didn't mean anything by it. It was just me being me and being inquisitive. That's great, Cliff. You've had a lot of really good, informative, well thought out things to say. So I say keep it up. If you feel comfortable, keep it up. Because you say tonight is the most I've ever said in live chat. Darren, you say, Dirk, the Howling 6 atmosphere is superb. I'm not a huge fan of the Thorn stuff as well, but I really like this sequel. Well, thank you, Darren. I'm glad to be kind of moderating something that you guys consider fun and informative, and you feel comfortable to give your own opinions on things, because that's the way I want it to be here. Dirk, you say, hell yeah, Darren. And I will add, the theatrical cut is the one that director's cut doesn't exist. Cliff, you say thumbs up. So again, you guys keep chatting in there. I'm going to move on to the next movie. We got 4 more to cover after this one. And this one again might be one that not a lot of people have heard about. And I will warn you that it does have Lucas Haas on it. And a lot of people have a problem with Lucas Haas. They think he's annoying, for one thing. And I could definitely see where he could be annoying at some points. Even in the movie about Ryan White, where he plays Ryan White in it, he does a good job. But he is a little bit on the annoying side at times. And So I can kind of see that, but I do think he does a really good job in the movie Lady in White, which is another ghost story. Some of it does take place leading up to and during Halloween. So, the ghosts of the dead can't rest without the help of the living in this terrifying horror film that's one of the most intelligent and riveting ghost stories since Poltergeist. The LA Weekly said that, starring Lucas Hawes, Inception and Transcendence, Lynn Carew, Blue Bloods, Alex Rocco from The Godfather, and Katherine Hellman from Soap and Who's the Boss. Lady in White is presented here in both its original theatrical release and never before released full length director's cut. Frankie Scarlatti, Hawes's character, lives in a small town with a deadly secret. For a decade, a serial child killer has eluded police, and the death toll continues to rise. Then one night, Frankie gets locked in his school and witnesses the ghost of the first victim being murdered. Now, aided by the girl's restless spirit, Frankie takes it upon himself to bring her assailant to justice. But in a town with no strangers, the killer may be closer than he knows. This, in my opinion, is another very well made ghost story. And whether you like Lucas Hawes or not, I think he does a really good job with the part. Again, this one has many subtle scares and a few not so subtle scares. Um, the tension really builds in this. This came out in 1988, but the year in the movie is supposed to be 1962. And I think that is another reason that it makes it so atmospheric because they were working so hard to, I don't know what that is. They were working so hard to be able to try to make this not look like 1988 when it came out. Um, Dare you say theatrical all day long for me too. Uh, Dirk, you say, who the hell's idea was it for the shape to be a pedo or pedo or however you want to call it? That's a good question. I never liked that. I never liked that aspect of it. Oops. And Darren, you say Lady in White is one of CK's favorites. It is, Darren. It certainly is. So I hope, even if he's not in here now, that he watches this later and hears me talk about it. Cliff, you say Lady in White. Yeah, I'm definitely watching that again this season. Doug, you say I should say incestuous. Darren, you said the producer's cut is way overrated. So, Dirk, you still haven't watched Lady in White. You need to change that. Yeah, I highly recommend it. Red, you say Turner Classic Movies. Menelect, hey, buddy. You say any big werewolf movie fans? Me. I am. Ain't I, Darcy? TJ, you say, I like the movie, but LA Weekly hyped it a little too much there. LOL. Hellman is great in it. Shows she was just more than just comedy. Yeah. Like you say, I got to see Jeepers Creepers Reborn. 2.5 out of 5 stars. Well, that's pretty good for a Jeepers Creepers movie this far down in the pile, I guess you could say. But I get you, TJ, that the LA Weekly might have went a little too far with the praise and the hype. Peter Travers from People said, a ghost story that truly haunts. This one is going to scare you senseless. And Entertainment Report said, Lady in White delivers nonstop thrills and will keep you in mounting suspense right through the chilling climax. This was also written and directed by Frank LaLoggia, who I think he did a great job directing it. And again, it is one of those bleak, desolate, and small town looks to it. And I grew up in a small town, so even though I didn't grow up during 1962, still that small town um, look was very nostalgic for me. Feels like coming home, all of that stuff. And then you got a great ghost story on top of that. So, with all of those things working for this film, I think that's what makes it a really good film and a really worthy choice to watch during the fall and or Halloween season. Dirk, you say, yeah, I love some werewolf flicks. TJ, you say, not enough werewolf movies. Werewolves Within was awesome. Darren, you say, I will see that Jeepers Creepers film, but I don't know much hope. Okay, so let me talk about the special features real quick on Lady in White. Disc 1 has the director's cut. It also has audio commentary by director Frank LaLoggia, introduction by Frank LaLoggia, deleted scenes, behind the scenes footage with introduction by Frank LaLoggia, behind the scenes photo montage, extended photo gallery and original theatrical trailer. Disc 2 has the extended director's cut and the original theatrical cut. So basically, you get 3 different versions of this film. And I can't remember what I probably just watched. I probably just bit the bullet and watched the extended director's cut. But I do want to watch all the versions. And I plan to watch this again soon, too. So that's Lady in White. Dirk, you say we need a werebear film. Yeah, Dirk, I mean, I'm being serious. Maybe you should go direct one. You think you could direct a werebear film? Cliff, you say Midnight Hour from 85. That's really good to watch around Halloween. I agree. I haven't seen that one for a while. It's on YouTube if you don't have it. I'll have to look that up. Okay, so Wes is going to be sorry he missed this because we're going to talk about one of his all-time favorite movies, guys. Madman. I have talked over and over and over again about how I think The Burning is a better film, a better slasher film, horror film, whatever, than Madman. But here's the thing. The reason why I have Madman in this group and not The Burning is because this is still a decent slasher film with an interesting killer. I mean, some of the stuff is hokey in it, but yeah, I can live with that. But the major reason why this is a fall and or Halloween type movie for me is that it looks like it's fall, and they may even mention that it's fall in the movie, and that's where it diverges. It really diverges from The Burning as far as atmosphere, because The Burning seems to take place when it's warm, and Madman seems to take place when it's cool and woodsy looking and very fall like. And sometimes I like that different dynamic. TJ, you say, Brad, the cinema snob, didn't like Jeepers Creepers Reborn. The way he was talking, it doesn't sound that interesting, but what do I know? Yes, TJ, the Alexis Dubin classic. Oh, Dirk, you don't give yourself enough credit. You say, I don't know, Dana, if I could direct a commercial, LOL. Cliff, you say, I agree, Dana, burning over Madman. Yeah, if we're talking just about slasher films, The Burning has Madman beat, in my opinion. But as far as a fall type of slasher, that is why I have Madman in my stock. And again, Madman is not a horrible movie. It's not an unwatchable movie. It's just that as far as slasher films go, I find The Burning to be the favorite of the two. So let me read a little bit of the plot synopsis here for Madman. Years ago, Madman Mars violently murdered his family only to escape into the woods before his execution could be completed. Legend has it that anyone who calls his name above a whisper can summon him back to continue his bloody rampage. But teenage Richie, away at camp, doesn't believe the old legend and calls his name. As night falls, strange things start happening at camp, and soon Madman Mars is back, axe in hand, to finish the killing spree he started decades ago. One of the true classics of 80s slasher cinema, Vinegar Syndrome proudly presents Madman on Blu-ray for the first time, newly restored in 4K from the camera negative. Darren, you say nothing captures Halloween better than that scene, The Exorcist, where Reagan's mother is walking down the street and the music kicks in. And yes, Darren, I talked about The Exorcist last night, and yes, that is definitely a scene that encapsulates Halloween. Dirk, you say, yeah, that shit's great, Darren. TJ, you say, I co-directed a short movie, Dirk, so anyone can do it, LOL. Cliff, you said, no, I like Madman 4K on shelf. Millake, you say, I never saw The Burning, but I will. Yeah, definitely check that one out if you can, Millake. Tubular Bells, Dirk, yeah. Tubular Bells. Darren, you said, The Burning is better, but Madman isn't far behind for me. So this is actually, like I said, the Vinegar Syndrome release. So the special features on this, new video interviews with star Paul Madman Ehlers, producer and co-creator Gary Sales, and for the first time ever, Richie actor Jimmy Steele. The Legend Lives, 30 Years of Madman documentary by Victor Bonacore that's 90 minutes long, so it's feature length. Madman Alive at 35 featurette. Commentary track with producer, director, and cast. Commentary track by The Hysteria continues. Music inspired by Madman and Memoriam featurettes. Vintage Still Gallery, TV spots, original theatrical trailer, plus more. And actually, if I'm remembering correctly, you can see the Dead Pit Boys on one of these featurettes. Dougie say, highly recommend The Burning. Durkee said, The Prowler is my jam, though. I love The Prowler, too. Steve doesn't much like that one, but there's a lot of these that I really enjoy that he doesn't like, or what are you doing, Brandon? Or that he watches once with me and says he never wants to watch them again. Darren, you say, I'm a big Prowler fan, too. Durkee said, I love the Carnage candy. So we're down to the final three for tonight, guys. I might get done a little earlier than I did last night because I didn't spend 45 minutes on one damn movie. So somebody mentioned the Mutilator earlier, aka Fall Break, the great Buddy Cooper movie. This is the Arrow release. This has got the great tagline, by sword, by pick, by axe. Bye-bye. Okay, this was a movie that it definitely takes place in the fall, supposedly. They have that damn song, Fall Break, in it, which I have to say is sort of catchy. It gets in your head and gets stuck in there. And, I mean, really, what's not to like about this movie? This was a movie that I discovered by accident. I think I ended up renting it the first time I saw it. And was pleasantly surprised by it. I really like the acting in it, especially Bill Hitchcock, who played the character of Ralph, who had a lot of the comic relief in the film. And I like that character so much, and Bill Hitchcock's portrayal of Ralph, that I ended up interviewing Bill Hitchcock for my fanzine back when I was doing Blood Type. Dirk, you say, I thought you was going to pull, I know what you did last summer. Darren, you say, do you think Mutilator 2 is going to be any good? Pizzo has a role in it. You know, Darren, I don't know. I'm almost afraid, as much as I like Buddy Cooper, I'm almost afraid that it's going to go the way a lot of these other movies have, that they waited so damn long to make a sequel. And of course, I'm speaking of things like Dark Knight of the Scarecrow 2, which I watched just the other night on YouTube and was not too fond of. I mean, I didn't go into it expecting it to be Citizen Kane. It's on freaking YouTube. You know, I didn't even get, like, quote unquote, a proper release. So, I mean, maybe Buddy Cooper will surprise me, but in all honesty, guys, I just think this is another one of those things where the time for Mutilator 2 is come and gone. Just like I've said that by the time they made Phantasm Ravager, the 5th Phantasm movie, the time had come and gone for that. If they were going to make it, they should have made it a long time ago. If they were going to make a Dark Knight of the Scarecrow 2, which they did, they should have made it a long time ago. And I'm almost afraid that the same thing's going to be the case for Mutilator 2. But I will watch it anyway. And I kind of want to see Pizzow in it. Cliff, you say, I know, I still know, I always know, LOL. Dougie said, I'm definitely not going to see it now, Darren, damn it. Brandon. I may have to get up and help Brandon up. Texas say, Night of Old Curly Jaws. Darky said, I still know what you eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Laughing my ass off. Oh, Curly Jaws, you guys, can you going to see Halloween Ends? If I see Halloween Ends, which I'll probably see it, I'm not going to go to the movies, and I'm not going to pay money to see it. I imagine me and Steve will be watching it at home. Cliff, you say, yeah, yep, that's the trilogy. TJ, you say a friend on Facebook of mine knows a guy who's going to be in Mutilator too. Wonder if the dad comes back with a robot lower body. That might be interesting, actually. Darren, you said, well, Cool Duder's not directing, so it might be good. LOL. Oh boy. So, not only does Mutilator have that cool fall atmosphere, it's pretty adequately acted. I mean, there's a few kind of corny things here and there, and some of the lines come off a little stiff and unnatural. But overall, I find the Mutilator to be one hell of a good time. And the kills are very gory and, in my opinion, for the most part, inventive. So let me read a little bit about the plot on the back here. Although the slasher film was in decline by the mid 1980s, there were still some grisly delights to be had, and they don't come much grislier than writer director Buddy Cooper's sickening stalk and slash classic, The Mutilator. When Ed receives a message from his father asking him to go and lock up the family's beach condo for the winter, it seems like the perfect excuse for an alcohol-fueled few days away with his friends. But no sooner are the teens on the island than they find themselves stopped by a figure with an axe and a hook and an outboard motor to grind. And I'm serious, guy, the killer does use an outboard motor at one point. Originally released under the title Fall Break, The Mutilator has earned a reputation amongst horror fans as one of the holy grails of 80s splatter mayhem due to its decidedly gruesome kill sequences, courtesy of FX wizard Mark Shostrom, Videodrome Evil Dead 2. Finally making its long-awaited bow in high definition, The Mutilator has returned to terrorize a whole new generation of horror fans. Darky say, not a fan of Pizzow. That's just me, though. Well, everybody, needs to, have their own opinion. And I think that's great that, it's not like you're saying anything inflammatory towards Pizzow. It's just, you're not a big fan. So, I mean, that's okay. Oh, Curly Jaws, you say, here's a sequel to The Mutilator called The Super Mutilator. Kevin Nash is the Mutilator. Oh, my. Well, this movie, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was like, this movie started out with a bang. Because I'm not going to talk about it very long, but I do want to bring up the fact that be prepared if you have not seen it. Because, like I said, this movie starts out with a bang, with an accident with a gun. And it really, even though you see the kid cleaning the gun and it shows him cleaning the gun, it shows him looking through the sights on the gun. And then it keeps showing his mother's back, and she's making a birthday cake for the boy's father. And you keep seeing her back, you keep seeing her doing domestic things, and you see the boy taking the guns out of the cabinet. Why the father didn't have them locked up, I don't know. But if he had, we wouldn't have had any movie. And so they keep showing her, and she looks so happy, and she's doing her domestic chores, and she's cleaning up after she's made the birthday cake, and everything is all right with the world. And then, bam, the boy just has to play around with the trigger on this gun, ends up blowing a hole through his mom. And like I said, even though something's probably going to happen, it still seems to come out of nowhere when that big hole gets blown in her. And they show it repeated. It's like, boom, boom, boom. And then she kind of just slumps over. So then it after the father comes home and sees what his son has done, and he just kind of loses it. And then he acts like he's going to kill his son. And then he just goes and the boy goes and hides. And I guess he calls the cops and the ambulance and all that. But the father just calmly goes, props his dead wife up with a big hole in her, and acts like he's trying to give her some alcohol, and then he drinks alcohol, and then the scene fades from there, and you hear the sirens in the background. Then it goes to Ed, grown up and in college, hanging out with his friends, and they're trying to just, come up with something to do for fall break. Let's see. Cliff, you say, Piz, he's good, I think. Darren, you say, that surprises me, Dirk. I really like Piz-Al stuff. Region Free show is excellent. I think I probably watch more of the Region Free stuff than I have just stuff that he might have done by himself. Dirk, you say, I just don't like his arrogance. I've talked to him before. I guess, again, I haven't watched a lot of the stuff that Piz-Al has done by himself, so perhaps I haven't been privy to that arrogance. But I'll be honest, in general, Dirk, I don't like it when people seem arrogant either. Jaren, you said that's fair enough, Dirk. So, Darcy, get out of there. What are you doing? So, as far as special features on this, and then we'll get to the final two tonight. This is director approved special edition contents. You get a brand new 2K restoration, the unrated version from original vault materials, high definition Blu-ray, and standard definition DVD presentations. You only get original mono 1.0 audio, which is a drawback for me, obviously. An introduction to the film with writer-director Buddy Cooper and assistant special makeup effects artist and assistant editor Edmund Farrell. Audio commentary with Cooper, Farrell, co-director John Douglas, and star Matt Mittler, who plays Ed. Audio commentary with Buddy Cooper and star Ruth Martinez Tutoro, which all of those are good commentaries. Fall Breakers, the story of the mutilator, brand new feature-length documentary on the making of the splatter classic, featuring interviews with Cooper, Douglas, Farrell, Mittler, actors Bill Hitchcock and Jack Chatham, and more. I love that. That was a really good documentary. Mutilator Memories, special makeup effects artist Mark Shostrom looks back at one of his earliest projects, which I always enjoy that behind-the-scenes special effects stuff too. Tunes for the Dunes composer Michael Menard reveals how the Mutilator's unique score was created. Behind the scenes reels, screen tests, alternate opening titles, trailers, and TV spots. The Fall Break theme song, original and instrumental versions, guys. Opening sequence storyboards, motion still gallery, original Fall Break screenplay on a BD DVD ROM. And a reversible sleeve featuring 2 original artworks. So I can probably show you the other one here real quickly, which that is the Fall Break one, which it is pretty cool too. Just not as bright and flashy really as this one, but they both look like paintings, which I like. Cliff, you say I've sent him super chats. I believe you do, Cliff, have to have at least 1,000 subs to get super chat. And Darren says the same thing. Yes, 1,000, I believe. So, the next to last one, guys, this does have some scenes that take place on Halloween. And again, this is a film that takes place in New York City, which already looks cold and desolate anyway. Um, but I think this movie very effectively shows that. And this is Abel Ferrara's Miss 45. It's no longer a man's world, guys, because this little chickie's going to take you out. Um, so the climax of this movie ends up happening at a Halloween party of all places. But this is one of those, I guess, rape revenge films that, although maybe slightly more subtle than some of the rape revenge films that came out around the same time, like I Spit on Your Grave, Thriller, A Cruel Picture, all those ones like that. And I don't know. I just really, I've also watched Abel Ferrara's Driller Killer, which, although fun at times, is really dark and depressing and bleak. Which somebody could say that about this one too, but it also, you know, has a girl that, or a woman that's put upon, she's raped twice in one day. She's pulled into an alley and raped, just pulled off the street and raped brutally. And then when she thinks she's safe and she's made it back home to her apartment, there's a guy that's broken into her apartment and she gets raped again. And get this, on top of all of that, she's mute till she can't make a sound. And she's, you know, getting brutally raped and is unable, and you see tears coming out of her eyes, if I remember correctly. And it just makes it all the more reprehensible that she is not able to scream or anything. Dirk, you say, I've been listening to Dead Pit Patreon with you and Steve, Dana. Two against it's great. Well, thank you, Dirk. I wish Steve still kind of wanted to do that. I mean, I enjoy being on the Eurocult podcast with you guys and with Steve. But I miss, I wish we could do both. I wish that I could do the Eurocult stuff with all of you guys. But then I wish me and Steve could still do the two against stuff, which was a little more intimate. It was just me and Steve kind of talking back and forth, and it made me feel like the beginning of our relationship when we first started dating. I'm not trying to get sappy, guys. I'm just saying I really miss that. But Steve says that he literally cannot do all of this stuff. He kind of had to let some of it go. So I'm just going to have to live with that. Cliffy says somebody dropped $200 on CK about a week ago. Yeah, I mean, from what I can tell from CK, though, from what he tells me, I don't know if it's Patreon takes a big cut of that money or what. I may be talking out of my butt about this, but I thought that that's what he indicated, that they, by the time Patreon or whoever takes their cut, that Dead Pit really doesn't make that much of a profit. I guess if they were, they could quit their day jobs, right? Danny said, "Did you talk about Kenny and Company last night? That's another good one for Halloween. Not hard, but fits the season." No, I did not, Darren, but I probably should have. I wasn't even thinking about that one. So, Doug, you've been listening to episodes from 2013. 2013 is the year we got married. August 2nd, 2013. Doug, you say y'all was talking about Miss 45. TJ, you say, saw Miss 45 at a horror-thon a few years back on 35 millimeter in the theater. That was my first viewing. Well, I'm going to read a little bit about the plot synopsis for this. I kind of give you some of the plot, but I'll read this little blurb on the back. American independent film icon Abel Ferrara's 1981 revenge thriller classic Miss 45 follows a mute garment district seamstress played by the late model and actress, musician, screenwriter Zoe Lunn, who, after falling victim to multiple unspeakable assaults, ignites her one-woman homicidal rampage against New York City's entire male population, combining the rabid angst of 1976's Death Wish and Roman Polanski's surreal post-traumatic Repulsion, which Repulsion is a very good film as well as Death Wish. Ms. 45 rages from the cult underground over 30 years later to reclaim its title as perhaps the most shocking, complex, and empowering revenge film of the 1980s, and arrives fully restored and presented for the first time ever in HD. And I just, I don't know. I find this film very powerful. I consider it one of Abel Ferrara's best films. Really takes as many of Abel Ferrara's films do, really takes a hard look at New York City at that point in time. I mean, this film is depressing. I mean, it's depressing to watch Thana, Zoe Lunn's character, get repeatedly assaulted. And her boss goes back and forth between being kind of nice to her, being sort of sleazy to her, and being mean to her. So it's like it would have to be very confusing for somebody to have to deal with that on top of, being raped twice in one day. And then her boss, going back and forth, 1 minute it's like he wants to come on to her and seduce her. Another time he seems really worried about her. And another time he seems really angry with her. I'm random. So she's having to deal with a lot of different things, plus the ultimate violence of New York City, and just the ultimate like bleak, cold feeling that is just underneath the surface all the time in this film. But a very well made film, in my opinion. Like I said, I consider it Abel Ferrara's best made film. Darren, you say you should still do the Two Against podcast. Love that show. You should just talk about what you watched and record it and just put it out. Well, guys, I'll be totally honest here. I would love to do it, but and I'm gonna try not to sound like I'm gonna start crying or something, but and Steve would probably say you don't go around, kind of airing dirty laundry. You're talking about personal things on a live stream. He just doesn't believe you should do it. But again, I feel like you guys are friends, and Darren, you and Dirk, we do the Eurocult podcast. Um, you guys do that with us every other Sunday. So I'm just going to lay it out here. As much as I would love to do that, I don't think Steve has any interest in doing it that with me anymore. Um, Honestly, he doesn't like to do too many things with me anymore. And sometimes I feel like he doesn't even want me on Eurocult. I think he would rather it just be you three guys talking about stuff than have his wife on. I don't think you guys feel like this, but I think he feels like I'm an intruder into that. So I don't, because of those things, I don't push the thing with the two against anymore. And, I have, as much as I love doing the Eurocult podcast, I have toyed with it many times. Of just saying, I'm out. You go ahead and do your thing, and I will do mine, and I will stay out of your stuff. Um, and I'm not saying this to say that Steve does not love me. Um, he does love me, but he just over time has lost an interest in doing anything like that with me. He does not. I know. I think it was Bradley Taylor that mentioned that he would like to see me and Steve do I believe a Jason Takes Manhattan commentary, and I asked Steve about it, and he had zip, no interest in doing that with me. But yeah, he will do commentaries or watch alongs with, and I'm not jealous. I'm just saying, I guess he just doesn't want to do it with me, because if CK and Uncle Bill ask him to do a commentary or watch along for Dead Pit, he will do it. But he just totally has no interest in doing any of that stuff with me. And so I said, well, I guess maybe I'll do a watch along for it myself. And some of you guys could maybe be on the watch along. Heck, it maybe even Bradley Taylor could be on the watch along if he wants to. That would be one way around it. Cliff, you say, was awful nice of whoever, yeah, to give $200. Doug, you say YouTube is a big old pimp. Brandon? Oh, Darcy. Sorry, guys. I was hearing stuff and I thought Brandon, poor old guy, was in a corner somewhere. Derek, you say, I agree, Darren. Derek, you say, Repulsion is great Polanski. I agree. That's pretty much Polanski at his best. Yeah, before he got caught being a sicko. And Darren, you say, Repulsion, I agree, is awesome. Really took me aback when I saw it. Yeah, it's Repulsion's a whole different animal. Cliff, you say, Eurocult, have to check that out. Darren, you say, Cliff, hit me up on Facebook and I can send you the links. Yeah, Darren's really good at keeping all that stuff kind of together and stuff. But I'm sorry if I depressed and bummed anybody out by talking about, you may be thinking, oh God, here's another woman that's moaning and groaning that her husband doesn't want to do anything with her. But some women, I say some because no woman is exactly like another woman. But I know some women, it doesn't bother them if the husband is really not interested in, going anywhere, because they're these independent, really super independent women that drive and everything, and they just go and do stuff themselves. They'll go shopping themselves, they'll go on vacations themselves, they'll go with the girls somewhere, um, and that's just the way things are. But for me, with me not driving and things, and I still feel like I'm a little more isolated in Louisville, um, because it's such a big place and I don't drive. And if I go anywhere without Steve, I have to depend on public transportation or an Uber or whatever. Um, so I feel a little more isolated, I guess. Okay. So again, now that I bummed everybody else out here, no, Dark, you are definitely, don't ever feel that way that you're an intruder. You are, and Steve is even, Steve is not a person that comes right out and says things. But he has indicated that you are a welcome addition to the show. And I know Darren considers you a very welcome addition. I consider you a very welcome addition. Uh, and I'm glad that you do love doing the show with us. I mean, I guess because I live with Steve. I'm in the same household with Steve. And so if he's going to take any irritation out on anybody, it's going to be me. And, and I know that you guys, being where you are and you're not here with us, I'm not meaning to tell things on my husband. I'm just saying, y'all don't see the looks and the eye rolls and the different things he gives me when I'm talking on the show. And I don't want you guys to say anything to him. I don't want anybody to say anything to him. Um, but those kind of things hurt when he does that. Um, and he didn't used to do that early in our relationship. Um, he treated me with the utmost kindness and respect and everything. And then over time, he just kind of got where basically he doesn't give a shit if he thinks that I'm saying or doing something stupid. I'm gonna get the eye rolls. I'm gonna get the looks. I'm gonna get the hurry up, the mouth movements of like that and stuff like that, because he thinks I go on way too long about stuff. He thinks I do too many of these live streams. Um, and so you could cry about it, but would it do any good in the long run? Not really. Darren, yeah, I think we have a good dynamic. It's just I really do think Steve feels like I'm an interloper or an intruder, or that he basically said one day that I kind of pushed my way into that show, which hurt because that was not what I intended to do. And I asked him, I said, why didn't you tell me point blank that you just wanted to do the show with when it was just you and Darren? Why didn't you tell me, or if you just wanted to do the show with Darren? Or then when Dirk came on board, why didn't you tell me, hey, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, Dana, but I think it might work better if it was just me and Darren and Dirk. And he really had no answer for that. Um, but he did indicate to me that I sort of pushed my way into that show. So, um, I guess it is what it is, right? Hey, Matt. Dirk, you say, yeah, we have different perspectives, which is great. I think that's great too. I mean, you have, four different viewpoints. And even though we don't always 100% agree with what the other person's saying, we still are able to have a good, healthy, um, non confrontational debate on a lot of things. And I really like that. Okay. So the last movie I'm going to talk about tonight, guys, because it's almost 11 o'clock and I was hoping that I would get off here before it got too late, is Pet Cemetery. And I know last night someone said that Pet Cemetery 2 had a fall like vibe. Well, Pet Cemetery actually, most of it seems to take place in warmer weather. But we do start getting into fall type of weather the longer the movie goes on. And so we get, I don't know if it ever really focuses on the Halloween season. It kind of skirts over that a little bit, but it does talk about Thanksgiving. Um, Rachel leaves Lewis at home, and her and the kids go to visit her parents in Chicago for part of the Thanksgiving holiday. So there's definitely some fall and wintry type of scenes. But the overall atmosphere of Pet Cemetery is one that, again, is dark and desolate and desaturated and all of that. And there are some really creepy scenes in this movie. And some of the creepiest scenes having to involve Zelda. And you guys that have seen Pet Cemetery, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, Zelda is one creepy ass character, and made even more creepy by the fact that this character was not played by a woman, it was played by a man, which I think made it even more, ugh, just, and that the guy that played Zelda in the movie, he knew what he was doing. He actually said in that Unearthed and Untold, The Path to Pet Cemetery, that when he went in for his um, interview, so to speak, he did the whole thing of like kind of crawling up to Mary Lambert, the director, and doing all that, the Zelda stuff that he ended up doing in the movie. Um, and then you add that really creepy makeup to the into the mix, and then you've got a really, a really top of the line um, horror movie, in my opinion. A lot of people, though, have said that the original Pet Cemetery was kind of hokey and not very well acted, and I would totally have to disagree with all of that. Nicely disagree, but disagree. Um, but I really like the movie. I think it's one of Stephen King's best books. I like all of his novels, but this is one that, even though it deals with a lot of really dark subject matter, is so well written and the characters are so rich. I mean, that's one thing that I will say about Stephen King. He knows how to write characters. These are the type of characters that you could literally almost see them coming out of the book and standing there beside you. That is how well written they are. So then when you get somebody like Mary Lambert, who is able to take that very well written book and turn it into this, although it's not epic, it's at 102 minutes, but it's not like miniseries epic or anything. But the subject matter is so disturbing. The characters are so well written that when bad things happen within this movie, you feel it down deep inside, or I do when I watch this. And I'm not only talking about the death of Gage. I'm talking about, when they're talking about church and Lewis's daughter Ellie doesn't want church to die. And what child has not felt that pain of not wanting their pet to die? And you feel that pain in that little girl. You know the part where she says, "He's not God's cat, he's my cat." And she cries, and her father takes her in his arms. Those are the kind of scenes that are so poignant. And that stuff happens before the really horrific stuff happens. But they make it even more real. So I'll read a little bit of the plot on here. I think most of you know about Pet Cemetery, but just in case, I will do that. And I will also talk about the special features. The Terrifying Tale by Stephen King is also a beloved adaptation of the best-selling author's work. Newly remastered in 4K for its 30th anniversary. By the way, this looks awesome in 4K. Pet Sematary follows the tragic story of the Creed family. After their cat is accidentally killed, a friendly neighbor advises its burial in a mysterious nearby cemetery. When the cat comes back, it's only the beginning of an unthinkable evil leading to hell and back. Sometimes, so it seems, dead is better. This is the 30th anniversary of this. So disc 1 has the 4K Ultra HD plus special features. Fear and Remembrance, a look back at the classic with the cast and crew of 2019's Pet Cemetery. This is one of those things that kind of irked me and made no sense. Why did they talk about remembering the original movie with the people that made the 2019 version? That doesn't make sense. Revisitation, a new interview with Mary Lambert. Director Mary Lambert shares memories of the movie. 3 new behind the scenes image galleries, including never before seen storyboards and commentary by director Mary Lambert. Disc 2 has the Blu-ray plus new and original special features. Stephen King territory, the characters, and filming the horror. And that is Pet Cemetery, guys. I'm going to go through these chat messages real quick here. Dirk, you say, yes, Zelda is a creepy bitch. Yes, she is. Matt, you say, you know more about horror movies than a lot of YouTubers, so he should be happy to have a woman who is into the same stuff he is into and isn't getting on to him about buying movies like most women. No, generally I don't get on Steve about buying movies or buying anything else for that matter. But the same doesn't go for me. He gets on me constantly about stuff I buy. So, but he claims he's better with money than I am. Matt, you said Pet Cemetery is the only horror movie that has ever actually creeped me out. There have been a few others for me, Matt, but I would agree with you on that. Yes, Dirk King did say he was gone on the blow cane. He don't even remember writing Cujo. And that is another one of his novels that I like really well. So I'm always sad when I hear, or read something where he says, "Yeah, I was so much on cocaine. I was so fried on cocaine, I don't even remember writing Cujo." Dirty said that remake needs to be buried in a volcano. I actually watched the new one, and oh Lord, I mean, it was on Amazon Prime at the time, and so I just thought, well, I got Amazon Prime, so I'll just sit here and watch it. And I sat here and watched it on my computer one day. Darian said, Pet Cemetery is definitely one of the better late 80s horror films. I need to see the sequel, but never seen that remake. The trailer was enough. I know. I know. Durkee said, yeah, it's a piece of shit, Darren. No, Darren, I totally agree with you. You can't replicate the original. And what I couldn't understand is why so many people at the time that the remake came out were saying how badly acted and filmed and everything. Mostly how bad the actors were on the original. I'm like, what? I don't see that. Cliff, you say, I saw the remake blue for $4.99, so I grabbed it. Well, if you can get it that cheap. So, guys, it's right at 11 o'clock. I've had a really good time. We still got 10 people in here, which is great. But I believe good old Uncle Rad was going to have something. I can't remember if it was 10, 10:30, or 11. So, being as I'm sure some of you may want to go over and see what good old Uncle Rad is doing, I am going to, I guess I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. I'm actually, I talk so much that I'm about to lose my voice, and part of it's probably the sickness, and the other part of it is just because I blab too awfully long. Um, I went on a minute over 3 hours, so you take it easy too, Matt. I hope to see you in here again. I'll be doing one tomorrow night. Matei versus Fragasso, the first week of that. You have a good one too, Darren. And I'm sorry I kind of got off on a train of thought that probably depressed people, and Steve would probably kill me. Not literally, but he probably wouldn't like it if he knew what I said. So I am going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. I want to thank everybody for coming in here. Bye, TJ. Thank you. I'm going to try to get some rest and keep that fever down, especially. Good night, Cliff. Don't be watching City of the Living Dead tonight, Matt. Probably not. Durkee say, all right, Dana, take care, and everyone else be good. I certainly will. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I think we had a pretty good, decent crowd. Again, I say any of you has an open invitation if you ever want to come on any of these streams with me or in some of the watch alongs or whatever, feel free. But on that note, I'm going to get out of here, and I will see everyone on the flip side. Y'all have a good night now.